guys. So if you like my channel, like, subscribe, and hit that notification button. I am trying to get over 10,000 people so that I can do this really cool thing that I can't do till I reach that amount. That's what I was told. I do consult like people like Up and Adam and say, well, can I do merch yet? Can I do this yet? And he says, no, you have to wait. And I'm like, oh, bummer. Anyway, I was doing really well and I was almost to 10,000 people, but then something happened and a whole bunch of people unsubscribed. So I can only imagine that somewhere out there, something happened without me realizing, but it's okay. It is what it is. I want my subscribers to be like digging the content and really want to be a subscriber, not just, like doing it for some other reason. Okay. So I figure the people who mean to be my subscribers will be my subscribers. And if it ends up being under 10,000, I'll take it. Okay. So sadly, Bob Saget passed away, as everybody knows. And so a lot of the patrons have been asking me if I would do a video about what I thought in regards to the autopsy report that was released, because it was unexpected, some of the things that were said in the report. Everyone, I think, anticipated that there would be only like a blunt force in one location where he might have hit his head, and because he fractured his skull, and I think it clouded the picture a lot when they started to see, damage to the front of the skull, the eye socket area, and those types of things. So people were kind of like, how could this happen? And of course, there was tons of speculation about what caused this because he had COVID at the time. Okay, so supposedly, before we get into this, Bob Saget actually predicted his death. That's what people are saying. And he did indeed do a podcast with his wife. And she was talking about mafia movies. And I think he was making a joke that he would be found dead in bed. But I'll let you listen to it. I don't think it's a prediction. I think he's making a joke about mafia movies, but it is weird. I'm not going to lie that this was done 3 months before they found him dead in bed. Okay.
October.
I'm going to be found dead in bed.
3 months later, the 65-year-old actor was discovered dead in his bed at the Ritz-Carlton in Orlando. Saget made the comment while chatting with his wife, Kelly Rizzo, for his podcast, which was taped in their home in Los Angeles.
How are you in the other room?
I'm good. I'm good here in our lovely dining room in front of our lovely fireplace.
A lot of people didn't hear the pre-part of this podcast, which is basically her talking about how she likes mob movies. So I think he was making a joke, because you like those types of movies, I'm going to be found dead in the bed somehow. Right. Okay. But anyway, it didn't age well, right? So there were many experts that then chimed in and said that the blow that he received to the head was something like falling off of like a high plateau in a building and hitting the ground, or a bad car accident. And they were saying it's really unusual that his head had so much trauma to it. So from that came out of some people saying, like, how do we not know that there hasn't been some foul play? And, was he just placed peacefully back in the room because they were trying to, hide the fact that some other trauma happened? But there's really no other evidence to suggest that that is the case. There were other experts that said that, if you fall in a certain way, that it can create like a domino effect of damage on the skull, which could make it appear like, you had a car accident, like they were saying, like a massive trauma to the head, even though you didn't. So it's possible that he felt just right and that occurred. But I was talking to my aunt about it. My aunt was a registered nurse for over 40 years, and we really got into it. And I said, what do you think? Like, I really want to have like a responsible theory on this, and I would like to comment and answer the patrons' request for me to do a video about it, but I want to like not be just like some idiot commenting on it, right? I put this filter on because I don't want you guys thinking I'm trying to be a doctor or nurse here doing this. But I did ask my aunt, who was a registered nurse for 40 years. Anyway, here's what the autopsy report said as it was stated in People. Per the report, the beloved Full House actor had a posterior scalp abrasion, subgaleal hemorrhage, which is blood that forms between skull and scalp, discoloration in the upper and lower eyelids due to the skull fracture, subdural hematoma, which is a buildup of blood on the surface of the brain, and subarachnoid hemorrhage, which is bleeding on the space that surrounds the brain. In addition to that, the autopsy report stated that he had an enlarged heart, damage or disease in the heart's major blood vessels, and plaque buildup inside the wall of the aorta. And although there was no drugs or toxins found in his system, the report stated that he was taking prescription drug clonazepam, which treats seizures, panic disorders, and anxiety. Now, I had a discussion with my aunt, and I said, what do you think, might have been what caused all of this trauma to his head? If it was like a long shot that he fell down, in the right, you know what I mean? Like, what do you think? And she said that a lot of people don't realize that if he indeed was suffering from seizures, which the family has not disclosed to the public, it's really possible that he might have suffered a seizure. And what my aunt told me was that when you have a seizure, it's such a dramatic, violent shake that you could easily, in the process of having the seizure by yourself, cause severe trauma to your head in multiple locations without realizing it. And it could be like hard traumatic trauma, and it could cause a skull fracture. Now, if he recovered from it, the seizure, he may have not known that he had damaged his head in the seizure, because he was, you come out of it and you don't have a recollection of what occurred, and he might have climbed into bed because he didn't feel good to rest without realizing he had traumatized his head to the degree he had, and that might have caused him to pass away. So this was just another theory. Now, only their family knows, obviously, if that could be a possibility. But because of the medication that he was taking, it could be yet another theory to what happened to him. I would say as good as any other ones that are floating around right now. What is a good thing that's come out of this tragedy is people that have an impact to the head and suffer a concussion or some other, trauma, they might now go to the hospital or take it more seriously than they would have normally. And that would be great, because then out of this tragic incident, people's lives will be saved. It's possible that if he had a seizure, right, he would have just fallen, and that could have caused the fall. Another thing that could have caused the fall is if he was not in a safe location and he did have any violent movement or jerking, he could hit his head. He could hit his head on objects that are located near him. You can have, he had heart issues, so that can also cause you to pass out. It also can cause a seizure. So, yeah, I don't know. I feel like maybe that could have been played a little role in it. Maybe he fell more than once. That's another thing. Anyway, I guess we'll never know. Now I'm anxious to see your theories below in the comments. So please do. And I'm so open. I'm so open-minded. I love to have everybody comment in what they think or believe. I'm not here to convince anyone of anything. I just like to kind of brainstorm about things and chat. That's what my channel's really about, sharing information and kind of having an opinion. It doesn't have to be everybody's same opinion, right? It's so nice to have your own opinion. So let's do it. So let me see what you got.